2.
Greetings, everybody. Mark Anthony K here, and today we're going to be doing something just a little bit different on my video channel, as I had mentioned earlier on my previous video. So, today, as you can see, I am joined by a good friend of mine named Ken, who is living out on the West Coast. And so, with that in mind, we will be doing a segment now called the East-West Vinyl Analysis. So, what I'll do is I'll swing it over to my friend Ken to let him introduce himself to you, and we will take it from there.
All right. Hello, my name's Ken, and some of you may know me from the KISS FAQ podcast. It's a podcast we talk about KISS, of course, and that's how I met Mark. Mark and I met pretty early on in the beginning of a couple of years ago, almost, I guess, when we started that. So we've been on several episodes of that podcast, and we enjoy talking about KISS there. As for where I am, I'm on the West Coast, like Mark says, San Francisco Bay Area, and my music tastes are a wide variety. It's not just KISS. I mean, KISS is my favorite band, but I like a wide variety, starting from classical all the way up to, like I said, thrash metal. It could be anything, like, and in between. So I started out probably listening to, I in the home. My sisters used to play the Beatles and Beach Boys when I was young, so I heard that stuff going through my head. So I was a big Beatles fan too, just based on hearing it all the time. It's like ingrained. But so it's a wide variety of music, and I'd like to talk about this stuff, all kinds of music, and I thought it would be interesting to join Mark here on this show.
Great. Yeah, so obviously, just like Ken, I also have a wide variety of listening, and unlike the KISS podcast, which we enjoy very much doing, that is very much focused on one group and one style of music based around KISS. This is going to be more based around various bands and various different records and various different styles of rock and progressive and other types of music in general. So it should make for interesting listening. The idea of the whole analysis part is that we will each give each other a record to listen to. Ken gave me a record. I gave Ken a record to him to check out. And being that these usually are probably going to be records that we have not listened to before or never heard of before, it should make for interesting dialogue and for You froze now.
Yep, it's back now.
Oh, okay, good. So,
yeah, it's good now. It looks like it froze up on us. I don't know what connection it is, but keep going.
Yeah. So the record that I ended up sending to Ken was a record by the band Yes, and the album is called Drama, and very curious to hear Ken's reactions as to what he thought of this record.
All right. So, like Mark said, he gave me the Drama record to listen to, and of course, I know Yes, the band Yes. I had a couple albums. The one with I keep forgetting the name of it, but the one with the
Going for the One
with the big skyscrapers on there, Going for the One, and then the 90125, I believe it is, right?
Yep.
So, and I think 90125 is probably the most commercial one, maybe. So I had those couple albums, but beyond that, I didn't continue to pursue, Yes, or go into the back catalog or anything like that. So I never heard this one. So this album, which actually I enjoyed very much, It's six songs because most of the songs are pretty darn long, which is fine. I mean, I like if the song's good, it's good, and whether it's long or short. So the first song on the first side is called Machine Messiah, and that song was very cool. It makes me think when I listen to it, the music styles that are in that bands of today are, you know, borrowing from that style. Some of the styles in there, the I could hear the drumming, you know, and other things for like Dream Theater, and even I'm sure they influenced probably Metallica. I don't know who Metallica's influences are, but I'm guessing Yes is probably one of them, based on what I hear. And so that song has a lot of cool change ups in it, a lot of instrumental, you know, long instrumental breaks and things, and changes are cool, which I like based on, you know, other music I've listened to, some progressive stuff like Rush, the older stuff of Rush, that is. So I enjoy that. I enjoy that type of thing, and it was very you know, tasteful and melodic and catchy. You know, it's not just changing tune for the sake of it. It was actually, you know, catchy, and it made sense what they're doing. And it was that's probably my favorite one off the album, the first one there, which I said it's pretty long. The first one I think is over 10 minutes. Yeah, 10 minutes 27 seconds. So Machine Messiah, that's a great song, great start off for that album. The second one's a real short one. It's called White Car, and it's kind of it's just very short in there for Yes. I mean, it's a minute and 21 seconds, and it's so short. It goes by. It's kind of an afterthought as far as I'm concerned. It's kind of like, okay, what's going on here, and it's you know it's cool, but then it's over. It's kind of a little quickie thing that they threw in there. And I don't know if Mark has any background on it and why or how they come up with that one, but that's just an interesting throw-in for them in between the two songs on the, or the three in between the three songs on the first side. So the third song is "Does It Really Happen?" Another good song. The song made me think of the classic Yes style of music. Okay, you listen to it, you hear it, yeah, you just listen to it, so you know that's Yes, based on the keyboards and so on. Just the way they're playing the music with the instruments. It just has that style, their style, I guess you could say. So that's another good song. I enjoyed it. It's it finishes off the first side of the album. It's a pretty long song. I think it's over 6 minutes. Yes, over 6 minutes. So it's another good one, and nothing bad to say about it. It all sounds good. I need to read the lyrics on some of these things because I don't know. So for like the next one, on side 2, first song, Into the Lens, that was interesting. They're talking about camera, into the lens, imagery kind of stuff, landscape. That's the one I really want to see the lyrics because I couldn't quite understand the whole story or what it was about, but I think if I read them it would make more sense to me. But the music was very good on it. Another just cool song. I mean, it doesn't sound like the other ones. I mean, it has the same production sound, yes, but it doesn't say, just because it's a long song doesn't mean it sounds like the other long songs. It has a different melody and structure to it, and it's a good song. The next one, which I made a note of, which is Run Through the Light, the second song on side 2. There's parts of it, I enjoyed it, first of all. It's a good song. It's more, I would call it more mainstream kind of song than the rest of the album. Like if they were going to release a single, they probably would have released that because it's short, first of all, and it's kind of sounds like that. And then what it is it reminded me of the Police when they're singing the chorus area of the song and certain parts of it. I could hear the Police doing that song. Not saying that they should do it, but I'm just saying I could hear it, that style, a little bit of Police style that they had on some of their songs. So, Mark, listen to that and tell me what you think about that when you next time you listen to that song, and see if you can hear any Police in there.
All right.
I'm not saying, I don't know. Obviously, they weren't influenced by the Police, but I just thought that was interesting, and it was a good song. Then ending it on side 2 is Tempus Fugit, another cool song. Again, it's not as long as some of the other long ones out there. This is a little bit over 5 minutes, and it's cool way to end the album, and everything. I was pleasantly surprised on this album, because I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. Really, I really wasn't expecting it. Seriously, and I was like, oh, I was very surprised, and I listened to it twice in the last couple of days, so it's very good. Good choice, Mark.
Great. Point of interest, you were mentioning that you thought that Run Into the Light might be a choice for a single, I thought you said, right?
Yeah.
I think you said that. The funny thing was that the single that they did actually pick from this record was Into the Lens. Now,
really?
Keep in mind that they did do an edited version of it. It wasn't a complete 8-minute version of it. It was a cut-down version of it. But I believe the B-side of that was Run to the Light. So it did make it in some capacity. Now, just to show everybody out there, I do have a couple copies of the record here. Here is my Canadian press of the record.
Yeah.
The back is just more of the same from the front.
Wrap around.
Just
yeah.
Wrapped around. The gatefold inside here, you see.
Looks like they're being tortured in there. They have their hands tied or something up there.
It's some odd photo that they took in there. It almost looks like they're in some kind of weird torture chamber or something. Which I don't know what that has to do. Well, drama. I guess it's a form of drama, right?
Okay.
So, this here is on the standard Atlantic red and green label.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Atlantic. Yeah, standard Atlantic.
Yeah.
Green and white, green and red.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's the Canadian version, and I have one more to show here really quickly. That is this very shiny version of it.
Nice. Yeah.
Which
they call those laminated covers. Is that what they call those in England? Or?
Yeah. And the funny thing is, right away, if you were to just pick this up and put it in your hands, you'll notice that it's a lot more flimsier material than the hardened cardboard of it, and that's because, of course, this is not a North American press of this record. And the funny thing is, too, this record is considerably thicker in feel as well, and that's because it is a Spanish pressing from Spain, and it's a promotional version of it. That's as we all know, promo versions were usually one of the first ones off the line.
Yes.
And therefore given a little bit more attention to detail, and usually were pressed a bit better. And this one does sound really, really nice on the old record player.
Before the press wore out.
Yeah, exactly.
Pressing. That's nice.
So,
I like the label.
This record, the record itself initially had a bit of a negative fanfare to it, mainly because when they were doing it initially, the band itself and management never told the public that John Anderson and Rick Wakeman had left the band. Now, they went ahead and did the record because management convinced the remaining members to try out the people in the Buggles, which were Trevor Horn and Jeff Downs, who had a huge hit single at that time called "Video Killed the Radio Star." Now, because of that, they figured that bringing in somebody or two people of that notoriety would help keep Yes on the up and up, and it was a logical plan. And to go with his logical plan, he decided to not tell the promotional companies as well, of which they already had a full world tour booked for, and the tour, of course, sold out everywhere across the world, with the bands thinking, of course, it's the regular people in the band. And much to the surprise of people in America, when they went on tour, they were treated to Jeff Downes and Trevor Horn on stage instead of John Anderson and Jeff Downes. John Anderson and Rick Wakeman, sorry. But it's interesting. In America, they didn't do too badly, and people are just kind of surprised how this band that they didn't really recognize but sounded so awesome. So people kind of, went with it and stuck to it. But when they went to England, they didn't really take to it too much, and there was great pressure afterwards to kind of split the band, and that the fans weren't really too accepting of it in England. So that led to the band kind of taking a 3-year hiatus before they returned with 90125. Now, the funny thing is, in years past, even like last year or so, Yes have been out on tour with Jeff Downes, ironically back in the band, and they have been doing full albums live now as part of their touring. And one of the albums that were quite requested and the fans were overjoyed to hear them do was Drama. So a reversal in fortunes for that record, as now it has become quite the popular album amongst Yes fans. So it's interesting to see that little bit of history in this record itself. And like I said to people before, this is the record I usually try to give to people if they're not too familiar with Yes material. I find it an easy way for people to break in to the older catalog.
Yeah.
So,
it worked.
and just a quick little connection between this one and the record that I heard. This record was mastered at Strawberry Studios, and the record that I listened to, which is 10cc's Bloody Tourists, was actually fully recorded at said studio, which is Strawberry Studios.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I'll quickly go through my opinion of this. Now, when I first heard this, I didn't know what to think at first, because I've never heard
Right.
anything from this band. I had just heard one song, which is Rubber Bullets, from their very first record, I believe it is. It's the self-titled 10cc record with some kind of weird balloon font on the front cover.
Right. But they had a couple other hits, which were, if you remember, I don't know if you remember, but I'm Not in Love, which is one, and The Things We Do for Love was another one. A couple of bigger hits, at least in the United States they were. But
yeah, that's true. But with that said, too, I probably wouldn't have been able to pick them out if you just played them randomly, because I'm not too familiar with 10cc. Now, the one thing I'm very happy that I did when I listened to this is I took out a good pair of headphones and I listened to this record, because one thing that I'll give this record right away is that the production on it is absolutely top notch. I was never before a big fan of dry production, but something about the way this record was recorded that really sits nicely with me. The drums are really dry, but they're so clear and punchy, and everything about it just sits really nicely in the sound stage when you listen to this. And right away, the first song there, which was the Dreadlock Holiday, was very interesting, because there's obviously elements of reggae and Caribbean style music in there, and it fit well with the production as well, because you would think that maybe that music tends to sometimes have a lot of horns and stuff like that, and lots of little delay and reverb on it, and it had none of that in this, but it really showed that sort of vibe even without all that, which I thought was very interesting. This next song after that, which was For You and I thought was a really interesting song, because it's almost like a ballad sort of in a sense. And to have that number 2 on a record, I thought was pretty gutsy, but it's a really well-written song. And again, the song itself was well-written. The singing is really well done on this. And I think overall, I'm guessing that at this point there were only 2 members of the band that were
The
from
original
prior
guys.
lineups.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. They just a quick background on that is
Hmm.
like you had with yes, a couple of guys left the band, and which is Godley and Cream.
Hmm.
You may have heard of them
Yeah.
before, and they had left in '76, and this album came out in '78. So you had still, I think the couple of members there were I think Graham, I think Goldman and Eric Stewart, who
Hmm.
were prominent guys in there, and they took the mantle and ran with it. After that, they kept going.
Yeah. It's interesting because while musically this record is excellent. I mean, even the next song, "Take These Chains," and the song after that, "Shock on the Tube," "Don't Want Love," is very interesting musically. But I found what's even more interesting about it is lyrically what they do with some of these songs. Because I mean, to write a song basically about being on a subway was sort of interesting. I found,
Yeah,
because I mean, it's not your normal sort of lyrical sort of topic to discuss. I don't know many people say, let's write a song about a subway, So
yeah. Hmm.
um, I found that that's very daring and gutsy to do something like that. I mean, it takes a little bit of balls to do that. Um, Last Night is an interesting song. I thought that was
Hmm.
pretty well written. But the song that ends side one is the one that I thought that was really well done, which is "The Anonymous Alcoholic."
Yeah.
Now, being somebody who has had his fair share of lots of drinking when he was younger and attending record things and band sort of soirees and stuff like that, it put a little bit of a smile on my face when I listened to some of the things he was talking about. And they're not to say that I'm an alcoholic. I'm far from that. I haven't drank alcohol in like 8 years now, but um, but it's just funny to read that sort of topic and the way they melded the music with the lyrics was just really, really, really well done. I mean, just even when he talks about having that sort of leathery mouth in the morning, how they deepened the voice on when they did that.
Old leather, they called it.
Yeah,
Your mouth.
it was just fantastic. I mean, that's the kind of thing where you can tell that attention to detail was put into the production of these songs because he could have easily have just sung that without any sort of real focus on the words there. So I thought that was a really, really well done. Side two, "Red's in My Bed" is a kind of interesting song. Almost seems very political in some aspects of it. Um, Lifeline was pretty good. Tokyo, of course, had elements of that sort of oriental feel into it, which I thought was good. That's one thing I find that 10cc is very good with on this record is when you read the title of the song, the vibe of that title does appear within the music, which I thought is very good because there's lots of bands that'll, give you a title of something and it's what did the title have to do with the music that I just heard? Nothing sometimes, right?
Right.
So I thought that that was really good. Old Mr. Time is pretty good, and again another decent song. But I think the last couple ones here, the from Rajdale to Ocho Rios,
So
is
Rios.
really good. Ocho Rios is really good. I
That's a
think
good
again
one.
that's another one of these things where it's the feel of it is so fantastic. Another sort of island vibe-ish
Yes.
kind of thing going on with that. And what I find about bands like this, I think that 10cc has something in common with another band that I like, which is Steely Dan, and that is
Hmm.
when you listen to their music, it takes you somewhere. I know Steely Dan really makes me envision New York City, a part of them. Like when you listen to songs like Deacon Blues and stuff like that from them, it's a very New York City vibe. But then they can do something like, Asia or something like that, and you can get a very West Coast California feel out of them from that. And I think that 10cc kind of does that as well, where there's, elements of their songs that remind me of parts of California, definitely, when I listen to it. And there's also quite a large Caribbean feel to their music, especially on this. I'm not familiar with some of their other albums, but definitely on this one, it's apparent.
Yeah.
I mean, even the front album cover with the guy with the Hawaiian shirt on there, like, come on, that should
Yeah.
tell you right there, right? And the record ends off with "Everything You've Wanted to Know About." Again, it's another great song. Musically, this one was really good, I thought. I really enjoyed listening to this one. And again, to end a record off on such a strong note, I think is really well done and shows the difference between um, track listings for when CDs came out and the track listings when vinyl was out. They definitely put more attention into detail with that. So I was really pleased that Ken sent me this record to listen to, and I'm definitely going to purchase it.
Wow. Well, I'm surprised. I was trying to throw you for a loop, and I thought I would, but I thought, I don't know if he's going to like this. This is kind of out there. It could be out there for him. So, but I'll go into the album a little bit here.
Yeah.
I have an album here. Here's the cover of it. This is actually a promotional copy.
Oh, nice.
It's my only one right now. I'm going to get the regular copy of it too, but I am restocking old vinyl that I had. Unfortunately, I had gotten rid of a bunch of my vinyl back in the 90s, around 1990 or something, and then I was replacing them with CDs. But now I've been on getting back to my vinyl. It's just better than CD, in my opinion. So that's the front and the back. It's kind of wraparound cover, kind of like the drama album,
Yeah.
And of course, it's a map kind of plastered to the front of this guy's this tourist, I guess, face. Right?
Yeah.
It's bloody tourist, hence bloody tourist. So here's the inside of the band here. So another gatefold, just like the drama album. Let's pull the disc out. And the funny thing about this, Mark, and you said Strawberry Studios. I knew they did record it there, but on this label, I don't know if I get it the right side up here. Okay, it's Polydor. It's a promotional white label. But on the run out
Dead Wax.
wax, it says Strawberry on there.
Oh, nice.
They actually wrote Strawberry in there, so it was cool.
Yeah.
So I think they did all their, or most of their stuff, as far as I know, at Strawberry Studios. So that was, I don't know if that was part of their own studio or why. I had to go back and try to figure it out. But this is a promotional copy, so it's pretty nice. And then, I'll show you, I guess, the inner sleeve has all the full lyrics, has a couple of these interesting little drawings on there, I guess. I'm not sure what they represent exactly. But all the lyrics are on there, which is very useful for this album because they have a lot of good lyrics and they're very comical. Just like you said, the Alcoholic Anonymous song where it switches up. It talks about going to a party. It's like it could be a Christmas party, and he goes after the boss's wife, and he gets in trouble because he had some drinks. He shouldn't have had drinks. He got to a bar and he got a little sip. Oh, I'll have one sip. So, maybe I'll have another sip, and then he just kind of went out of control and gives in. Right, and then he goes wild and goes after the boss's wife, and then the next day he gets fired or whatever. But it's a story. It's funny. Now the other thing is, why did I get this album? I'm trying to think back why, and maybe you could explain the drama album. But the why on this one is, it was 78, came out in September 78, and I was thinking about why did I get this? But I know I liked "I'm Not in Love." It was probably my favorite song by 10cc that I never bought. I didn't buy the album. And then the Things We Do for Love, which is another big hit. Now this album came out in 78. It actually did well in the UK. I think they're very more popular in the UK. The song Dreadlock Holiday went to number 1. The single went to number 1 in the UK, and I think the album went to number 3 on their charts. So this is pretty surprising.
Yeah, number 3.
I don't think it did that well here. I know it didn't go to number 1 here.
Actually, the funny thing is, according to the charts, it says here it went number 3 in Australia, it went number 75 in Canada, it went number 2 in Dutch album charts, went number 12 in the German, and went number 2 in New Zealand, it went number 4 in Norway, It went number 3 in Sweden, and in the United States, it went number 69.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So it did fairly well in very many places.
That's funny. I see another one. Oh, I'm looking at the. Oh, no. You're actually your drama album went to 18 in the U.S. Did you know that? Wow. So that's pretty good. Yeah, 69 here in the U.S. So the other thing now, we were talking about Strawberry Studios. They recorded. Oh, we got a lock up here.
There you go.
Okay, we're back. All right. So the other funny thing about Strawberry Studios, not maybe funny, but the reason I bought this, I think, is because of those two songs. Plus, I know they played when they were a band before under different names, different members, kind of called Hot Legs before 10cc, and they recorded. They were the backing band on two Neil Sedaka albums, and I'm a big Neil Sedaka fan. So I said I had a wide choice of, but I'm a huge Neil Sedaka fan from back when they did. He recorded two albums out there. I think he recorded them in Strawberry Studio, maybe one or two of them, but one was called Solitaire, and the other one was called The Tra-La Days Are Over. Anyway, they were his backing band, so you're gonna definitely gonna have some good backing music on his album, and that was before he came back to America via Elton John. Told them, hey, you need to come back to the U.S. again, after leaving the U.S. And so, but anyway, that's another story. I think that's why, because I knew they were backing band on Neil Sedaka's album, plus those other two songs. I thought, okay, and I saw the album. I'm going to take a chance on this one without hearing anything. I didn't hear anything. I just bought it, and I was lucky. It's like, hey, this is pretty good. And one other thing is those songs that you pointed out, Dreadlock Holiday, it has that little reggae feel in it. Not everything does in this. A couple of songs too. And then that from Rochdale Ocho Rios, that was probably my first favorite song on the album. It's so uplifting, upbeat, and just a nice vibe to it. And then the other one, the ballad one, you said, For You and I, which was one of my first favorite ones too. And Take These Chains, I think, is the other one. But anyway, that's why I got it, and I still enjoy it to this day.
Interesting. For me, as for the drama record, I had gotten a videotape copy of something called Yes Years. Now, what that was, earlier on, they had made a compilation called Yes Years, and they had this video that accompanied it, which went through their whole history from the beginning. Now, I had not heard drama at this point, nor heard anything about it or nothing. And during the video, they got to the point where they said John had left, and they brought in these people. And there are videos that circulate from this album, and one of them were on there, like a quick 20-second snippet of them doing Tempest Fugit. And I remember when I first saw it, me and my friend, the drummer in my band at the time, we kind of looked at each other like, what is this? Like, we just thought that the singer guy looked kind of dorky at first. We were like, this guy doesn't look cool. And so you got to remember, too, at this time, I was like 20.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of like, still easily influenced by being cool with the long hair and la, 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 So for me, I kind of almost like let it just go over my head that this guy was actually pretty good. And, years later, I discovered that he's a brilliant producer as well and songwriter. If I would have known that then, I probably would have given him more of a chance, right? But at that point, I just totally, I saw the album all the time at the record stores, and I was like, drama, not buying it. And then finally one time, I think it was, I had a Dream Theater DVD. They had a similar thing, a whole following of their career. It was called 5 Years in a Lifetime. And in it, they do this special show that they do once a year at Ronnie Scott's in London, England, where they play like a full set of covers.
I think we got frozen again.
There you go.
We're back.
Yeah. So And so they were playing at this Ronnie Scott's place, and what ended up happening was they brought Steve Howe up, and during the performance with Steve Howe, they played Machine Messiah, and I was like, wow, this song is pretty cool. And and then I tried to go back to their discography and see where that song was, and much to my surprise, it was on Drama. So that made me actually go back and say, you know what, I'm gonna give this a chance. So I went back, picked it up, and much to my surprise, I really actually liked it. I mean, I think the first listen to it, I've just completely connected with it. So Drama to me is actually in my top 5 of the Yes albums overall. So I think Drama is a brilliant record, and I highly recommend it to anybody who hasn't given it a chance yet.
Yeah, me too. It's a good album. They should check it
So,
out.
so I think that this first run through went pretty good, apart from a few technical glitches, which I'm sure we can take care of
Figure
in
out.
post. And but I'm really looking forward to doing this again with you, Ken. And
Yeah.
we should definitely pick out another couple of records. And I'm going to preface it by saying, don't be scared in your selection, because it seems like if you are worried about that one, I'd advise you to give me ones that you're more worried about, because I seem to like it. So, you know,
Interesting.
and I mean, I want to be, you know, brought on to some different music, because, you know, it broadens one's palette, and it helps one's songwriting as well when you have different things to
True.
listen to and stuff. So, yeah, so I definitely would want to do this again, and I'm sure we'll try to make this, maybe try to do at least once a week. Who knows? We'll see what time allows for, and if Ken's up to it, then maybe we'll try to do it once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. We'll see how we can fit it in, right?
Right. See how it works.
Okay, great. So let's leave it at that for now. And so I'll wrap up by saying thank you for coming to check out this first installment of the East-West Vinyl Analysis. And be sure to subscribe to the channel, because I'm sure you'll see more of these in the future with my good friend Ken here. And until next time, this is Mark Anthony K on behalf of Ken Keenan saying bye for now. Great.